Hi, my name is Kyle Daniel Dominguez Rodriguez. I am a student at the National Polytechnic Institute. In today's exhibition, I will explain about the creation of oil through organic and inorganic theory. I'd like to tell you a little bit about oil fields to cover the subject bit. The history of oil begins more than 2000 million years ago, when most of our planet was still covered in water. Its formation complicates helical process intervened associated with a slow bacterial action on the organic matter accumulated at the bottom of the sea gave rise to these mixtures called hydrocarbons. Only the Bible mentions it as bitumen or asphalt. For example, in the Genesis it is said the asphalt was used to glue the bricks of the Tower of Babel, and another section is described of the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah were defeated by falling into asphalt pits in the valley of Sinim. However, the Bible never warned us of the importance that this resource was going to have in the future of humanity, much less that it will be a direct cause of military intervention and wars. A little more recent, the ingenious people prior to the discovery of America already knew and used oil as a waterproofing for boats. There are several theories about the formation of oil. One of them is the organic theory, perhaps the most widely accepted, which assumes that it originated from the decomposition of animal remains and microscopic algae accumulated at the bottom of lagoons and in the lower reaches of rivers. This organic matter was gradually covered with increasingly thick layers of sediment, sheltered from which, under certain conditions of pressures, temperature of times, it was slowly transformed into hydrocarbons with small amount of sulfur, oxygen, nitrogen, and traces of metals such as iron, chromium, nickel, and vanadium, the mixture of which constitutes crude oil. These conclusions are based on the location of the oil beds. Since they are all in sedimentary soils, furthermore the compounds that form the aforementioned elements are characteristic of living organisms. However, there are people who do not accept this theory. Its main argument lies in the fact that there are more than 30,000 oil fields in the world, and so far only 33 of them constitute large fields, of which 25 of them are in the Middle East, and contain more than 60 of the reserves proven of our planet. How is it possible that so many animals have died in less than 1% of the earth, which is in the percentage that corresponds to the Middle East? Perhaps the explain could be that millions of years where there was only one great continent called Pangea, and the thought allowed the accumulation of dead animals in one place. The process of decomposition of organic matter and the formation of oil takes between 10 and 100 million years of oil does not form large underground lakes. Its liquid formation means that it can advance vertically or horizontally, taking advantage of the permeability of the rocky layers that it encounters until it reaches the superface. At this point is where the like products that are part of it evaporate and give rise to the oxidation process, creating asphalt. It is not known exactly where on Earth oil is formed due to its mobility. Oil has been found on every continent of the planet except Antarctica, while the hypothesis of the inorganic origin of oil holds that oil is formed from methane in the thermodynamic condition of the upper mantle. The first abiogenic hypotheses were proposed in the 19th century by the Russian chemist Dmitry Mendeleev and the French chemist Marcelin Berthelot. The hypothesis about the organic origin of oil was initially proposed by the Russian scholar Mikhail Lomonosov. The abiotic hypothesis lost ground to the evidence of the biological origin of oil, such as is thought to pick biomarkers in the mid-20th century. They resurfaced throughout the work of various Soviet and Western scientists, including physicist Thomas Gold of Cornell University. Although the formation of oil from this source is not considered impossible, the evidence shows that practically all the oil extracted or thus is waiting the reach of current drilling means enough biological origin. The ubiquity of hydrocarbons in the solar system is taken as evidence that there may be much more on Earth than is thought, and tight oil may originate from the migration of carboniferous fluids to higher regions of the mantle. In the West, it gained relevance for the publication of the Deep Hot Biosphere by Thomas Gold, who is accused of having copied part of the Russian-Ukraine theory very outside the Russian-speaking areas, without citing it. Gold's version of the hypothesis incorporates the existence of a biosphere composed of the thermophilic bacteria in the Earth's crust, which could explain the existence of certain biomarkers in the extracted oil. Although the abiogenic theory of petroleum is accepted by certain geologists, mainly Russians, the vast majority of petroleum geologists consider the biogenic theory of petroleum formation as scientifically proven. Although there is evidence of the non-organic fraction of methane and simply hydrocarbon gas on Earth, it is cited because they are not produced in commercially significant amounts. Essentially, all hydrocarbons that are extracted for use as fuel or feedstock are organic origin. It is also said that because there is no direct evidence to that liquid crude inorganic oil and inorganically formed low-chain hydrocarbons compounds within the crust, no essential prediction is given to corroborate the abiogenic theory. The inorganic origin of petroleum has been reviewed in detail by Gillespie, who raises several objections to the theory based on current evidence. Although it clarifies that at the time of its formulation, the criticism of the theory of organic origin were complemented due to the lack of conclusive evidence. One of the main obstacles in the development of the abyssal and abiotic theory of the origin of oil has been the lack of reproducible and reliable experiments results that confirm the possibility of the spontaneous synthesis of complex systems under the condition of the upper mantle of the Earth. That is, it is not scientifically admissible. Inside the mantle, carbon can exist as hydrocarbon molecules, mainly methane and element carbon, carbon dioxide, and carbonates. The abionic hypothesis suggests that a large amount of hydrocarbons found in oil can be generated via abionic process. These hydrocarbons can migrate out of the mantle towards the Earth's crust until they escape to the surface or remain trapped by impermeable stratum, forming our reservoirs. Abionic theory rejects the assumption that certain molecules found within oil, known as biomarkers, are indicative of the biological origin of oil. Instead, they are that some of these molecules may come from microbes found in oil its migration to the surface through the crust. That authors are found in meteorites and that authors may be generated by possible reaction in inorganic oil. Biological makers present in oil as hopanoids are parts of the cell walls of bacteria. These bacteria feed on hydrocarbons and after their life cycle in this context, leaving their imprints of the oil. And well, to finish it, I chose to make this presentation because of the great impact it had on me. When I found out about the organic theory and inorganic of oil, I think it was precisely because of this that I decided to enter this engineering. Everything has been on my part and I hope you like this presentation, teacher.